I'm just shooting a few arrows with my quiver on, and also I'll shoot a few with the quiver off. So this is my 2022. This is what I'm gonna hunt with this year. It's 68 pounds. I don't know why it came out to that. The limbs are cranked all the way down. That's what it's scaled at. So I'm fine with it. As long as I'm in that 65 to 70 pound range, I don't care if it goes a little over, a little under, but 28 inches is my draw length. This is a 28 inch setup, and it actually comes to like about 28 and a half, and I'm okay with that also. Because I run a short, if I had a longer D loop, you can adjust kind of where it sits in comfortable. I'll just put a little bit shorter D loop than I normally have, and that settled in perfect for me. So Fletcher, Fletch Hunter, 3/16 peep. I think it's aluminum. It's not plastic or magnesium. I think it's machined aluminum peep. 3/16 matches up good with my sight housing. That's the Mathews model AXCEL 5-pin fixed with the bridge lock system that goes in the riser. I switched from last year from the Hamskea to a QAD Ultra Rest R2. This isn't the fully micro adjust one. This is the cheaper one. I'm running a ULTRAVIEW B-Reel grip on here, and I like it. It hasn't changed my groups at all, but it's more comfortable to my hand. It lets this part of my hand come up higher, closer, so I'm shooting the arrow, it feels like closer to the top of my hand, which I like, and then I'm pushing a lot harder on this flat spot instead of the factory grip was rounded. This is a real flat right here, and I shoot with this thing on. It doesn't weigh anything, it doesn't change the bow, but I won't have this on if I'm hunting out of a tree stand. I only have this on sitting on the ground, and I shoot with my quiver on and off. It doesn't change my groups either. I don't run any kind of stabilizer or bar or weight system or all that stuff. I'm not into that. The bow is heavy enough as it is, and stable enough as it is. I didn't have the 2-piece model. Originally I was running a Hamskea and the 2-piece wouldn't work, or I would have got a 2-piece and just shot with my arrows on there all the time. But I'm kind of glad I got this one, because I ended up doing like I used to do, just take it off and put it in my backpack, or if I'm sitting on the ground, I'll take it off and set it beside me on the ground. But that's my bow setup, and when I'm practicing, when I get closer to the season, I'll put broadheads on my arrows, and about 30 days out, I'll start shooting more with broadheads, not exclusively, but I'll just do it a little bit more. My arrow is 29 inches from the throw to the nock to the end of the insert here. I just run the factory, whatever GOLDTIP sends with these. These are GOLDTIP Platinum Pierce 340s. The 340 spined at my draw length and draw weight with 125 grain, and I could probably cut them a little bit shorter, but that would stiffen them up too much. So I'm shooting a longer arrow than I need to, but that's for spine reasons. It's not for weight or for anything else other than getting them to fly like I want them. I shoot 3 blazers, fletched helical. These are GOLDTIP factory nocks. They fit good on my string. Sometimes I will change nocks out to another manufacturer just to get a better fit on the string. I don't want it to be so tight on there, and I also don't want it to just fall off. But I'm practicing with my hinge style, my Scott Longhorn, but when it comes to during hunting season, I'll be shooting a Scott. I think this is called a sabertooth or a silver tooth, maybe, something like that. They don't make it anymore, I don't know. I shot a Scott Mongoose forever and ever and ever and ever, and I can always remember that. I don't ever remember the name of this one because they only made it for just a couple of years. But that's my release that I shoot, and I didn't have a particular reason for switching from the Mongoose. I just I think the archery shop that I went to had that one sitting there, so if not, I'd still be shooting the Mongoose. But there's 2 broadheads I shoot. The first one, I shoot a QAD Exodus 3-blade, 125 grain. It's got a steel ferrule, and this is the same ferrule. I've shot this through the buck that I lost last year. and a few pigs. And when in the buck that I shot 2 years ago, the buck that I lost was 2 years ago, and I was shooting a Mathews no cam at that time. I haven't shot anything with the V3X33 a deer yet. I just shot pigs with it, but this is the same ferrule, just new blades. It's not bent, haven't noticed any. And the buck that I lost was not the Broadhead's fault. It was just I think I was getting it's just a poor shot. I got a poor entrance and poor exit on a deer, but that wasn't the Broadhead's fault. The other Broadhead I shoot, I keep one of these in here, is a Slick Trick 125 grain 4-blade, and it's just same as the QAD. It's a steel ferrule with replaceable blades, and it's just pretty much bomb proof. My only complaint about the Slick Trick is it doesn't always just blast through stuff. Those QADs will pretty much blast through stuff. The Slick Trick, depending on your arrow setup and your bow setup, I've seen and heard people talk about them hanging up and skewering, and I've skewered stuff. I skewered a big buck in South Texas where it was sticking out both sides of him as he ran off, but he was pumping so much blood, I didn't worry about it. I usually don't like having the arrow stuck in the wound channel, but I haven't had a problem. I won't ever switch from them. I love them. I'm not shooting stuff like an elk. If I was going to shoot an elk, I might go to something that was cut on contact, like one of the Day 6, or maybe an iron wheel or something like that. But for deer and hogs, mule deer, goats, I've shot some Axis, exotic. I've shot all kinds of stuff here in Texas, and I haven't had any issues with Slick Trick. The other one is a Viper Trick. It's just not in my quiver, but yeah, ever since about 3 seasons ago, I got a package of QAD Exodus. I'm still on the same 3 broadheads. Now, I've gone through a bunch of blades, but I'm on the same 3 broadheads. I don't carry, the difference in my compound, in my recurve or longbow is I don't carry a judo point or a blunt tip arrow, because in the past I would do that and I would be tempted to shoot at stuff just for the fun of it. And whenever I switched to these GOLDTIP Pierce and the Victory, the VAT, when I switched to micro diameter arrows, I started unknowingly, I was bending this component setup on the end and bending it just very, very, very slight amount. And this thing would be where I couldn't get it on and off. And when I would put a broadhead, I would notice it in my field point groups. I put a broadhead on here and spin it, and it would have some wobble to it. And the only thing I could figure that was bending this component system was shooting those judos into the ground, shooting them out of my tree stand at squirrels and stuff, and just flinging arrows kind of recklessly. And so I quit doing that with my hunting arrows, and those arrows are too expensive to be bending and ruining, because once you bend the end of one of those, it's pretty much ruined. You'd have to cut it back so far to put a new setup in the end of it. You would change the spine of the arrow, and these things are spined right. I don't want them, if I bend it going through an animal, that's one thing, but bending them shooting at junk is not what I want to be doing. So anyways, that's I think I got everything in there. Draw weight, draw length. This is a 33, I know I mentioned this, but a V3X 33 AXCEL. That's still, I know that people think that's a long bow, but that's still a pretty short bow, honestly. It looks long because it's all riser, but if this bow had a traditional riser and angled limbs, you'd think this was a mini bow, just like they used to be. That's as short as I go, and I'm not a big long draw length guy, but the sweet spot for me, 32, 33, I shot a switchback for a long time. I think that bow's like 35 inches axle to axle or something like that. The adrenaline that I shot for a long time was somewhere 33, 34. So, I mean, that's the sweet spot for me. And I don't do that because I'm going out west making long shots or anything like that. It just, I don't know. I shoot it consistently. I shoot it better. And but anyways, that's my setup going into this season, and I'm hoping to not change anything. I got my rests like I like it. I changed from the Hamsky, but nothing else is going to change. This is it for 2022. Thanks.